anglicky. A je to taká vec, že už nemáme pri nás našich tlmočníkov z dnešného dňa, čiže je to pre vás vlastne možnosť doučiť sa všetky slová, ktoré zatiaľ neviete o architektúre a dizajne po anglicky. Čo vy na to? V pohode? Dajte mi taký potlesk, taký nejakú energiu. Dobre. So I will switch to English now. I'm sitting here with 4 jurors and one Graham. The 4 jurors who decided on the winners of today's awards, which will be later on today. So please welcome with me, I have Lenka from Zaha Hadid Architects. I have Martin as the president of ECIA, which is the European Council of Interior Architects. That's a very nice welcome. Davina, board member and the European Council of Interior Architects. We have Graham, who is a dog lover, a pet lover, a wine lover, and chocolate lover. So he's having a great time at this event where there's lots of wine and chocolate. And we have... And we have René, who is dedicated to educating about sustainability, I think, in design and architecture. From what I saw in design and architecture, used to be also the ambassador in ECIA, so big applause. So we will pass these microphones around, and I think I will maybe give you guys most of the space, and if you need me to moderate anything, then do look to me, and I will also ask questions. I am the least informed about, well, after today I feel a little bit more informed about what architects and designers are struggling with, what questions, but I will start with you, Lenka. How would you describe today, maybe in one sentence or a few words?
One sentence is a tough task. I really enjoyed today. I think we all learned a lot about the ways how the interior design is developing, and how is it developing from something being maybe new and mostly untouched from new materials to something what is really about sustainability, reuse, reconstruction, and looking at the next life. And I think it was, kind of evoked in many of the topics, although I didn't show such an example in my presentation. As well, the projects I work on now are about refurbishment within Zaha Hadid Architects, so I really believe it is the way where the Europe market is going, and it's a good way.
Hello everybody, as you said, my name is Martin and I'm the president of the ECIA. I am also very glad to be here. I just want to introduce a little bit because I was also here last year. Maybe some of you recognize me. I was not part of the jury, but I had the opportunity to tell something about the ECIA as a European Council of Interior Architects. So we are the body for the different interior architects association around Europe, from Iceland to Italy, from Spain to Slovakia. And I've been the president now for 4 years, and I have 2 more years, and I'm very impressed of the development in Slovakia. I learned to know Milan and Martina for 3 years ago. They have a very small organization. They can become observer member in the ECIA, and this year at the General Assembly in Stockholm, the SAID become the full membership, effective membership of the ECIA, and we are very happy to have the SAID on board in the ECIA. So this is really something very good. I have to repeat the question. I forgot to.
Were you during the day today?
Yeah, well, enjoying it a lot. We have also seen, to be honest, I have also done a few, so I'm a practicing interior architect in Vienna in Austria, and in the past we have also done a few projects here in Slovakia. Now I've spent 2 days here, have the opportunity to have a look at a few of your projects, which is part of the award, and I must say I'm very impressed. And well, for many years ago we came to Slovakia to do something, but you don't need us anymore. You can do it better yourself. Thank you.
I speak to two. Well, I think I want to say chapeau to Martina and Milan and Dasha, because they have been truly like dedicated. Such a small team. I know there were some other people backing you as well, but I think the work that you're doing is really important. And we were so, I guess, inspired by you within the CIA, because you have shown true dedication and professionality. I mean, I think we all agree, like even this week, not only with the applications for the award, but also with the whole strategy, the whole approach of the awards. So yeah, well done. It was really, really good.
You may be wondering why I'm here. I am
Because
too.
we forced you.
Yeah, I'm not part of the jury, so I didn't see any of the competition entries and so on and so forth. About, I don't know, 40 minutes ago, Milan came up to me outside and said, "You can talk, you can go on stage." So here I am. I've been known to not be shy, to talk. I gave a presentation earlier at 3 o'clock and it was great fun, and it was all about various things. I'm an educator primarily and so on and so forth. But beyond that, the question is, you know, what have we seen today? I sat in that seat over there from pretty much, I don't know, 9:30 a.m. this morning. I barely moved. I think I took on board some water at some point and a box of food at some point. And I've sat and just listened to everybody's presentation today. I've seen just about everybody's. And one of the reasons I like doing these sorts of things, and I do a lot of them all around the world and so on and so forth, is I like to take the temperature of something. You know, I haven't been here before, Slovakia, and when Milan and Martina invited me, had a lovely conversation. They knew that I was kind of connected to the ECIA and I'm working with them on a project and so on and so forth. And they very kindly invited me here, which is always a risk, you know. You don't know what these people say, you know. They could turn up and be very controversial. So it's you know, an honor. And I've sat in that corner and thought, okay, so what's going on in Slovakia? And I have to say, and this part of the world, because it's not just Slovakia, there's been people from the Czech Republic and so on and so forth, all over. I have to say that I'm immediately struck by this kind of intense passion and enjoyment and depth of thinking that I've seen today, because every speaker that I've seen has sort of stood up here and really eloquently and articulately, and then via the interpreters, for me, even more eloquently and articulately, really expressed where they're coming from, what they're thinking, how they're acting, and what their work is doing. And my feeling on day one is that the temperature here is really hot and people are doing really good stuff. We were out last night for a few drinks and these guys were telling me about the stuff they'd seen in the competition, and they were just saying the quality is superb. So, you know, I'm really honored to be here. It's brilliant. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to see so much brilliant stuff going on in this world. So for me, it's been super exciting. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, particularly the stand-up at 7 a.m. I think you're starting, is that right? Yeah? Perfect, we'll be there.
Yes, I'm very excited about a morning stand-up comedy show myself. So hopefully everybody will have had a coffee by then. So.
But thank you, seriously, it's super.
Добрый вечер. Sorry, this is the only thing I know. My parents are from Poland, but I was born and raised in Germany. So I know my brains are from Germany, but my heart is from Eastern Europe. So I feel very welcome here, and I feel that my heart is somewhere here as well. So it was a little bit of emotion to see what's happening in this country and how this country developed, unknown from our perspective. So as the ambassador for the interior architectural training in Europe, derived and developed by the ECIA, I'm really interested in getting this knowledge from this country in the knowledge we created, or what we want to create it as a common European knowledge of interior architecture. And what I've seen in the entries and the shortlisted project we've been visiting, it was really amazing. And some of the crafts we saw, we really thought that we should take these craftsmen to our place. Yes. It's high quality, and of course, you know, we know best what it means as the interior architect to communicate with the craftsmen that they're doing exactly what we do or what we want, and to share the same passion as we share. And when this happens, then there is this magic that we see the results we've seen the last days. So thank you for your passion. Thank you for your dedication to this beautiful discipline, interior architecture, and we want to share from Europe what you're doing, and it's the best what we can do together.
I am going to try to come up with some questions. And my first one, also, one of the first speakers today said that he was from Slovakia and that he went to work abroad because the approach to architecture and design is completely different abroad. And you've been saying that things have been changing and going towards a better direction. So I feel like maybe there's some contradictory statements, not too much, but so maybe in what sense has maybe not even just Slovakia, but Eastern Europe in general been going, is it going the direction of the West, and is it becoming more modern, or what would you say is the getting better and becoming more of a worldwide standard? Does that make sense?
No.
Can you translate, Graham?
Maybe I can try.
We'll translate that into Slovakian.
No, maybe you go. Yeah, it's from my perspective. So as I was said, I'm born and raised in Germany. My parents showed me Poland 1970. So I was in a different way introducing another world which I don't know, but it was the source of myself related to my parents. So I can reflect from this first moment that there is another world belonging to me, which I was not knowing before. And now from this first moment in the 70s to several visits, and then we worked in Warsaw and we worked in other places in Poland, and now to see how it is not that there is a somehow development, but it's new visibility. So I think this is important. And what was also important was the lecture about the resources, the ornaments, the heritage. So what we are about, or what you are about as Slovakians, and to take this as a value to bring it into the future and to bring it into Europe, to to make something new out of it. We've lost so many things in Germany through the years. We lost so many things in Europe over the time. And now when we are introduced to Eastern Europe again in this way, we can learn a lot what we're missing. And this is to make it whole. We need to know more about these countries.
I speak as a person from a country that made a very stupid decision 3 or 4 years ago called Brexit, which we will never live down. As you know, the idiotic colleagues, they're not colleagues of mine, but people who voted for this thing. The reason I say this is because we, as a stupid nation, made a decision to cut ourselves off from a kind of fantastic part of the world called Europe. The reason I say that is because we, as designers, as creative people, are people who move. We transcend boundaries. We look at other places, other things. We are constantly researching. We are always discovering. We are curious as designers, and whether you are starting out, whether you are well established in your career, we're all curious people. And so borders and barriers don't stop us. We'll go anywhere to find inspiration and new and different things. And so I think that whether the answer to your question in many respects is the fact that we are just people of the human race who in the last 10, 20 years have become increasingly adept at becoming fluid, movable people who will transcend boundaries, will move wherever the work is, we will go wherever we want to go to be educated. I am an educator in London, and I, on average, in a year group of master's students, I have something like about 35 different nationalities every year. So all of these guys are coming to us from all over the world, and they will either stay in London, I hope, to enrich our design culture, or they will go wherever in the world. So, you know, all of these people are moving around. So I think that the notion of learning from places, the notion of understanding different places, is somehow a balancing act between this fluidity and also just retaining some sense of the place. You know, it would be a crying shame if everywhere looked the same. So we don't want that. So we want to go to places which will give us something different. So I think we're just human beings who happen to live in a generation which is very easy to move around, which is very easy to gather information, which is very easy to learn. And as long as you're curious in that environment and you want to, then the world is, you know, to coin a phrase, the world is your oyster. And I think that's, well, we're so lucky in many respects. You know, our mothers and parents' generations and generations before that, they never had this kind of fluidity or this connectivity, I think. And I think it's something for us to really embrace. Our children will have even more so. And I think it's useful. So as a designer, you've kind of become a filter, or you somehow become an editor of this stuff, I feel.
That's really nice. Anybody else want to answer my very badly constructed question? Or you can also...
I don't know about your question, because it lost me a while ago, but like following what Graham just said, I think on the flip side of that, there is also the fact that there is a lot of copy and paste, and even though Graham agrees we should copy and paste.
So what's wrong with that?
I think there is also a danger to that. I think we experienced it a little bit, you know, seeing projects that are repetitive in that they're not creative enough, and it's easy to be lazy. So you really need to go back to your values, to the sense of time, a sense of place, and rediscover what one of the ladies was saying today about, you know, going back to your roots and looking at the traditions, the craftsmanship, which you are so lucky you seem to have retained in many ways. So use that to your advantage, you know, don't get lost in the trend. It's just not the way forward.
As a person that lived in Slovakia, and and I actually live over 10 years now abroad, so I think I can kind of talk about the differences. I do believe that we as a Slovak designers, we are very strong, and maybe we sometimes just underestimate how much good work we can do. And I do know that Slovak people have always this mentality that we are not as good as the West, we are not as good as the rest of the world, and we just should go out and it's much better there. It is not much better there. It's every country, every nationality, every community has its problems and has its benefits. It's just when you are sometimes abroad, as you know, as Graham was saying, like in London, in the office I work for, there are over 50 nationalities. In the school years, there are going to be 30 plus. It's just really dense with the different sorts of information, different cultures, and we don't have that in Slovakia. So of course, when we go somewhere out, we just take everything as extremely different opportunity or experience, but it might be just that the country has a little bit different speed of development because we are smaller, you know, there is just a different speed because of the political situation that was here the years before. We developed differently than Spain or Italy or England, and there is nothing wrong about it. We should just kind of, you know, make sure that we don't tell to ourselves that we are worst, we are Eastern Slovakia, we are not so developed. We are really good. And as well in the interiors we saw the craftsmanship of the carpentry and the joinery, it was beautiful, and it was as beautiful that, you know, each of us, you know, we were surprised because we haven't seen that quality in different European countries. So we can do really good work, we just should embrace it.
Thank you. Yeah, one thing is also, I believe there's a lot of students here also, when our profession is some kind, it's good, this exchange, to go somewhere abroad in another country to get experience, and maybe if it works, to come back and you start the business here in Slovakia and bring your experience back, and that's the business, and then it grows, of course. And I do believe that from Slovakia, as far where I live, it's not so far. We have a lot of Slovakian good technical and architects and designers. At the beginning, it might be a little bit cheaper manpower. It was like it was after the opening of Slovakia. They came to Austria and had less payment. That's a fact. But this is not this anymore. It's actually the Slovakian are famous because they are good educated in BIM. You may not know what it is, but they know what it is. And also in the Revit, which is another software. They are famous for this. So they have a huge and a great education, and the situation is, you know, the future are manpower. We will not find enough mangel. How do you say mangel? We will. It's not
Technical skill.
Yeah, there's not enough architects now. It's changing. You know, we have a new generation, and one generation in retire, and we have a problem. So this will be a huge future. Also from the educated architects, interior architects from Slovakia. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe you were wondering what I was told into my ear. Of course you are. It is that you can also ask questions, and it is on intebold.com/ask, takže môžete sa tiež pýtať otázky, ak chcete, aj po slovensky to môžete napísať, ja sa to pokúsim čo najlepšie preložiť. A stránku máte napísanú aj na vašom náramku intebold.com/ask. I'm going to ask the first question. Martin, I will give it to you because I already asked you this today, and with a tiny soul, I felt embarrassed that I asked it, but you can explain it again. What is the difference between interior design and interior architecture, please?
Oh, don't get that started. We'll be here all night.
Actually, there is no difference. It's just an old-fashioned thing. In the Anglo-Saxon countries, there's interior designer. In Germany or Scandinavia or in Slovakia, I believe, it's interior architect. It means the cell. It's not a big difference between it. Did I hear a question or somebody was another meaning? Yeah. So we have recognized that the word architect are in some European countries and also in the United States some kind of copyright for building architects, and they don't want the title of interior architects because there's only architect is an architect and the other one might be the interior designers, which is a very old-fashioned thing because also the word architect, it's now also in system architects or in other business is also called an architect. So this is for me just an old-fashioned thing, but we, you know, in this ECIA, we are aware of everything. We know that this is a problem for some countries or for some colleagues, but our purpose, our aim in the ECIA is, of course, slowly talk to this and maybe it's be acceptable. That's one of our tasks for the ECIA.
I have a view. I have a view on this, and that is... Am I on? Ah, there we go. I have a view on this, surprisingly. That is that whether you call yourself an interior architect, an interior designer, or an interior decorator, and this is an area that we need to talk more about because people overlook it, but it's a real skill. Whatever you call yourself, my view always is that you are the expert of working with the existing. Whether you are painting it, whether you are restructuring it, whether you are planning it or organizing it, you do all of these things, whether you call yourself any of those titles. And that, for me, is the fundamental difference to the other built environment subjects. So there's no difference in many respects, but I think the difference we have to really articulate, because this is important, because this is going to secure our future as the #1 profession in the built environment, is that we are the experts at working with the existing. Nobody else is taught how to do it. They don't do it in schools of architecture. They may do occasionally, more so of late, but that's only because they recognize that we do it in schools of interiors. So that's the ground we need to claim. I don't think the battle between I'm going to call myself an interior architect, I'm going to call myself an interior designer, in the UK anyway, was a conversation we were having 20 years ago, and it was really boring. Nobody cared ultimately. But the really big claim is I think that we should claim the territory around working with the existing, because nobody else does it like us, and nobody understands it like us. So hold on to that, no matter what you call yourself, is my view.
Agreed.
Grazie, mille grazie. I don't know what thank you is in Slovakian.
There is also another thing. We have funding from the EU in the ECIA, and we financed a scientific study. And this study shows us in a way of spider models, which means you have graphs and like a spider web, you see how far it is in the regulation. And I'm coming from the most regulated country in Europe, Germany. So we have a title, we have a protection of this title, but the question is not, is the title protected? The question is, does the society see the relevance of our profession? Whatever we call them, but this is the question, relevance. Graham says we are the masters of the interior, of the already built. So whatever we call us, we need that the society see the relevance of it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I have another question from the audience, and it's been also a recurrent question today, but maybe you can all say your view on this, but what would you recommend for a young interior architect or designer who wants to open their own practice? What is the most important thing to know before you start? We can just go and have a round. Maybe you will all have your own experience, which will be enriching.
Difficult for me to start because I'm an architect. I'm not really specialized in interior architecture. So I might think that they can answer it better. I'm sorry. I think in general, it's very important to have an open mind and to listen because architecture, and I think in this case as well, the interior architecture as a specific is, you know, very important to find out that when you go out from the school, you know very little about what is, you know, out there for you, and you know what's going to happen to your project and how is it going to develop. And it's not just about the design that we as students of design architecture are kind of exposed to. It's much more, and actually the design is almost the shortest period that you're going to encounter in the project. It's a lot of management, a lot of costing, a lot of coordination, it's technical, it's a lot of work with suppliers, with contractors. So you need to kind of go out there with an open mind and to be able to talk to all of these people, to your design team, and, you know, see their perspective and try to work with them to achieve your vision. So architecture, interior architecture, design, it's really a team sport for me. So as someone who is new and wants to open their new office, I think find a mentor, listen to people around you, and, you know, have an open mind.
Thank you. I would recommend as a student study either architecture or interior architecture. Of course, one thing who is very important is the creativity. And I always say I do some teaching, not much, but also, you know, you can learn to be creative. And where can you learn that? That's what you learn in the school during education. When you study architecture or interior architecture, this is the creativity, and I'm convinced this is something you can learn, and this is the place to learn it. So this is one of the most important things, because afterwards, when you come to reality, well, it's a lot about money, it's a lot about timetable, and it's a lot of construction and stuff, which you also learn at the school. But of course, this creativity, you will maybe, that's my experience. It took a few years after, sorry, the battery out. No, it works again. It takes some years after you finish the study maybe, and you work in an office, and so many new things you have to learn. But this knowledge, you never forget, and it comes back after a certain time, and you have this creativity in your body, and it comes back. So this is something which is very important, and don't forget about these things when you're out on the profession, because it comes back after a while, and then you're very proud of it. That's my point of view.
So I think there are two ways of learning. I think you can either learn through your own mistakes or through the mistakes of others. I personally have been self-employed for the last 23 odd years. And I think, I remember way back thinking, oh, you know, I can either join a firm or I can do it my way. And there are pros and cons either way. I think it depends very much on your personality. And what are your aspirations? Like, what do you hope to achieve? I learned my own way. I made mistakes, loads of mistakes. And you face the music, it's true, but you learn fast. You know, you face a challenge, and it's a different way of learning. I can see that today a lot of people love to collaborate. They have all these teams and everybody's doing, you know, some specialization. And I think that's super, it's great. But I wouldn't say it's for everybody. I think that if you want to do it on your own or, you know, with a friend or a colleague, I think it just takes a hell of a lot of perseverance. You know, it's just, you fall, you get back up, you do it again. You know, just like life. So yeah, go for it.
I've got, in this question, because, you know, many of my students say to me, what am I going to do next? Help me. I have two forms of kind of answer, and they depend on the outside world. Economics, okay? God, that's a word that I hardly use, but anyway, you have to be aware of the situation, the context of the world, because I think in the finance world they call it a bull market or a bear market, right? And one is recession and one is not. I can't remember which one's which. I don't really follow this stuff. But if you are coming into an economy which is in a recession, then be prepared, because you will then, if you are dedicated, your mode of kind of transport, your journey is different. You will potentially find work harder. You might look at your friends who you enjoyed working with and say, let's work together, let's find work together. That little job that your family member had, we can get some money through that. And that's a different kind of context, you know? If it's a burgeoning economy, you will be the person then in control, in that you will have job offers. And you might then be in a position where you are deciding things. And it's both of those decisions where you then say to yourself, who do I want to be? Do I want to set up on my own? Can I work for people? And my argument always is to get experience through working in a practice, if possible. So you just understand how it works, and then you might go off on your own and do stuff. You know, it really depends. It depends on who you are. But definitely understand the market, because if you don't, it can be really soul-destroying to think that you are coming out of your education and starting a practice, or you know, the world is your oyster and there's nothing out there because there's no work because we're in a recession. I know this from my own experience. You know, my first degree was in a recession when I came out, and a very wise person said to me, "You're coming out in a recession. Take anything you can get because you'll learn from it." And I thought, really? But he was right. And I ended up working in some jobs that I'd never really wanted to do, but I learned about project management, contracts and stuff. There wasn't any creativity. And then when the recession eased, I could then go and work in some decent practices. And then I worked in my second degree, my master's, I came out, and it was a very healthy market. So I started to work with big practices and so on and so forth. So it really depends on the economics. And if you can be aware of that, as you emerge into the market, I think that will stand you in good stead. So you have to be a bit of an economist before you set foot into the big wide world. That would be my advice. So, bull or bear?
Well, I will start with some figures. I am the chairman of the Architects' Chamber of Baden-Württemberg, which is in the southwest of Germany, and we have 26,000 listed architects from all faculties, and 60% of these 26,000 are employed. So the narrative of being and running, being chef and being boss and running its own business, it's getting different and gets differentiated. You remember the slide of the young generation architects in the chamber, and I said the time of the masters is over. So you don't have to follow the narrative that you become a master and rule the world. Teamwork and cooperation is the masterpiece. So whatever you do, the world is too complex to get easy solutions. So therefore, it is really, really aware to form cooperatives and form new ways of offices. And this is not the single person office running, working day and night and struggling for its purpose. It is teams, and the teams are mostly diverse, and the more the diverse they are, the better. So when you realize economics, take one in. When you realize you need a lawyer, take them into your team. You don't form a big company, but you have your people for the different needs. And networking is more than just having an office. So whatever it comes, we had one couple, young couple, 5 years, and they were in the short list. And the professor, Štefan, said to them, "You're brave that you make yourself an office." And he said, "No, they're not brave, they're just naive." So you don't have to be naive or you don't have to be brave. You just have to be aware that complexity needs complex answers.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for your contributions. I hope that that was clear enough for anyone who wants to start their own practice. Do what they said. I have one more question from the audience, and I think that we will wrap it up with that one question. What is the... Okay, I'm just going to look at it one more time. Do you feel like your culture influenced your way of approaching spaces? And I would also, again, just go with the round, maybe if spaces and structures is better for you. I don't know personally, but we can go this way, maybe? What do you think?
Okay, so, so when I get the question right, is what is the influence of space?
The influence of your culture in or your viewing of spaces.
Let's put it this way. More than 80% of our life we're spending in interiors. So it is very important that these interiors are properly done. So when you raise up in a bad environment and a bad interior, this is just printing a life, and you have to work against it. So when it comes to learning spaces, so when the learning space is bad, so how can you get to learn better? So it is very important to take care of the spaces you design, because they affect directly the people you're working for. So it's this responsibility. We had this talk about ethics, so this is a really, really strong responsibility. You have to do good, because these people you're working for, they are trapped in your interior. So whether they do good or not, so this is your responsibility. And that's why it is really important. It's one of the most important things that we are doing, is to create good spaces for the better living and working and learning and whatever it comes.
I would define culture more before I could answer it properly, and because it's really hard, that question. So if you were to define culture as your familial or your family kind of roles and setup, the environment in which, my voice is going, the environment in which you were brought up in, the kind of social structures that you grew up in, even, the weather, the climate that you were a part of. These are all elements of culture that will have influenced the way that you view your interior. So if I refer to those personally, my family setup was kind of interior, not very interior savvy, let's say. Although some of my earlier experiences in my family, there were kind of ideas about design, and there were some books around and things like that. So there's an influence. I think culturally, probably one of the biggest influence on British people is the climate. Because, you know, I know that if I were to live, I lived in Germany for a little while, and I know that the winter there requires me to have a much thicker kind of insulation between me and the outside world that it does in the UK. And so the climate is a culture which I think influences our interior environments and so on. So it's a really difficult one. I would say, you know, as a British person as well, we have a climate or an interior life which is different as people, I would say, to other European countries. Everybody has a difference, I would say. We are fantastic pub goers, you know, to highlight a cliche of British people, but it's very true. And that's a part of my upbringing, because my mother was worked in a pub. So as a young kid, you might wonder why I'm an alcoholic, that's why. As a young child, I'm joking, as a young child, I used to spend many hours waiting for my mother to finish work, and I would sit at the bar and talk to these old people, and you know, they were all kind of drunk and stuff and chatting away. But I will never forget that kind of feeling in this environment of people smoking and drinking and chatting and sociable, room-based interaction. So yeah, you know, cultures, how you grow up, your family, those cultures, the climate, is all of these things, they impact upon your life. And I think, you know, that's why I still am partial to a good pub today.
It sounds like a childhood in
To be
the
continued.
UK is, the same as in Slovakia. So
This is why I love this place so much. We share so much.
And despite the fact that it's so cold in the UK, you still have such huge rooms which can never be heated enough. At least my own experience in living in Glasgow, I never felt so cold.
Well, as opposed to Graham, I come from the Mediterranean, from the tiny island of Malta. And I can say that this year we experienced the longest heat wave we have had ever. We had 42 degrees for 15 days straight. So that got me thinking how important our architecture is. You know, we're heating and cooling our spaces like crazy. And I think it's so important to go back to our roots, back to our vernacular architecture. We have a great vernacular. We have these big, chunky 80-centimeter walls, which keep out the heat fantastically. There is absolutely no way to, you don't even need like a fan, you know, because it's cool. You feel at ease. And then you look in opposition, you look at these concrete blocks, and it just feels like a Swedish sauna. Sorry, it's from Sweden. A negative analogy. But yes, it does make you think that there must have been a reason our ancestors did things the way they did. So yeah, I think we do need to look at our culture and take the positive aspects. Maybe, as the lady was saying earlier today, maybe we need to make them more contemporary. Maybe we can use modern technology. You know, we can use the technology we have available today, and together with our culture, well, we shouldn't lose that for sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Davina. She mentioned, for your information, I come from a country, Scandinavian country, far up north, where we also, our culture, my culture comes from there. And as an interior architect, I moved to Austria after my study. And from the country where I come from, we have a very large furniture company. It's the biggest furniture company of the world. And of course, when I said I'm Swedish, I always had this question, IKEA, you're doing IKEA design, so, which I hated, of course. So, of course, but that was not my purpose to do IKEA design, of course. But of course, you have your culture and you have this northern style. I used to say to to my staff or maybe my company, we have a style. I can't say it's in the Scandinavian style. I think other people can more say what kind of style we have in our office. Yeah, but of course, the culture you come from, you can never just ignore it. This is not possible. It comes back, and you have to make the best out of it. Thank you.
I have 2 points. So the first one is that I work on international projects. This means that they have to fit to the culture in which we create. So in that way, it will be very difficult to take something of how we design in Slovakia to, implement it in Saudi Arabia, in Russia, in China, in America. But what I do believe I took from Slovakia and I took from my upbringing, as we were talking about the culture being, the environment in which you grew up, and something what I implement into the projects I work on, is that I think we have a nice culture of community in Slovakia. And this is as well something what is specific, and it might be as well because we are a small country, we don't have so many multicultural elements, but we really stuck together as a community, and we have a good family connections, good friend connections, and we like to, create stuff together, make within the community our peers happy, and create something what, is there to stay as well for the other people, not just for you. I grew up in a tiny village, and my father was one of the people that he would just create everything for the community. And because of his attitude and his legacy, it was for me always clear that I want to be architect, because I want to create a space for other people where the other people can create their own stories, can live their life happily, and with the architecture change the world for the better future. So that is what I took from our culture to the others.
I think that was a wonderful wrap-up for the discussion in Slovakia. Thank you so much, Lenka. That was so beautiful. Yes, we do have to remember where we come from and what it gives us, of course. Thank you so much, all of you. Please, one big applause for the jury. No a teraz si dáme, tuším, krátku prestávku. Krátku. Hudobníci sa pripravia, takže 10 minút môže byť? Nevieme, ale asi môže. Tak,
Share the joke, Milan.
5-10 minút, vrátime sa sem, bude hudba a teda budeme rozdávať tie ceny. Tak. Ďakujeme veľmi pekne. Konečne vás môžem privítať na veľkolepom odovzdávaní cien INSAID AWARDS 2023. Niektorí z vás ste tu takto ako my od 8:30, niektorí aj nespali, aby tu dnes mohli byť, a niektorí ste prišli na toto odovzdávanie cien. Tak, bude to ceremonia, ktorá sa zahájí hudbou, a ja by som chcela veľmi pekne poďakovať cirkevnému konzervatóriu v Bratislave za to, že prídu hrať, a veľký potlesk pre nich. No a rovno privítam prvého hudobníka, nech sa páči, poďte nám zahájiť túto ceremóniu takýmto spôsobom. Ešte raz potlesk, kým ide.
Ja budem pokračovať za teba. Ideme si pozrieť. Dobrý večer. Ja trošku pomôžem Diane. Musí sa pripraviť, musí sa trošku rozdýchať, ja tiež. Takže dobrý večer, zaskočím ťa. Môžem ťa zaskočiť?
No, ja som bola informovaná, že budú 4 vstupy a potom sa mám vrátiť. Tak.
A o tom som informovaný nebol, ja tak sorry.
Dobre, ja som to nepochopila, ja sa ospravedlňujem, absolútne. Mám v SMS-ke napísané, teda bol úvod a teraz si ideme pozrieť študentskú kategóriu nominantov.
Dobrý deň, moje meno je Paulína Šramčíková a študujem na škole Florence Institute of Design International. Rada by som vám predstavila môj projekt Inquiry Office s lokáciou vo Florencii. Tento projekt je navrhnutý pre dokumentárneho fotografa, ktorý rieši témy občianskych práv, sociálne témy a pre jeho redakčný tím. Preto je tento priestor multifunkčný, interaktívny a môže hosťovať rôzne workshopy či výstavy ich diel. Koncept je založený na reflektovaní ich práce a tém, ktoré riešia. Ukazovanie pravdy, šírenie povedomia, ale hlavne rešpekt. Rešpekt vzniká nedotýkaním sa stien a celkovým pocitom neviazanosti priestoru. Priznané steny predstavujú tú pravdu, ktorú častokrát nevidíme alebo na ktorú zabudáme, a biely nátier symbolicky predstavuje vylepšenie tejto reality. Za najväčšiu inováciu považujem komín, ktorý prenáša denné svetlo do hlavnej kancelárskej časti Tiny House. Celkovo pracujem hlavne s jedným materiálom, s ľahkým javorovým drevom a snažím sa vytvárať udržateľné riešenia s dlhou životnosťou. To je do mňa všetko, ďakujem a prajem ešte pekný deň.
Dobrý deň, moje meno je Diana Fábriová a som študentkou Technickej univerzity vo Zvolene. Názov môjho projektu je Reflex, pohyb, prispôsobenie. Navrhovala som bývanie pre človeka, ktorý sa venuje produktovému dizajnu. Byť som navrhovala tak, aby tam mal svoje menšie štúdio a osobný priestor. Riešila som, ako oddeliť pracovnú a súkromnú časť, preto som navrhla zaoblenú skriňu, ktorá zároveň slúži aj ako predeľovacia stena. Človek si vie oddeliť priestor medzi súkromnou a pracovnou časťou. Zvyšok interiéru je navrhnutý rovnakým štýlom. Keďže je to malý byt, potrebovala som vyriešiť úložný priestor a využila som tam vyklapacie a záviesné systémy. Človek si tak vie vlastne zaviesiť rôzne veci na stenu. Tvarovanie som využila oblej, aby som tak využila viac priestoru.
Dobrý deň, moje meno je Konstančíková a študujem na Technickej univerzite vo Zvolene. Koncept komunitného centra pre problémovú mládež vznikol na základe hnutia sekty Šejkov z 18. storočia. Je situovaný do hospodárskej budovy a je postavený na základe ich zaužívaných životných, či už sociálnych alebo dizajnových princípov. Vytvára teda plnohodnotný priestor, poskytuje miesto pre pomoc mládeži, pre ich rozvoj a sebarealizáciu, čo vytvára taktiež aj väzby danej komunity s prostredím. Život Šejkov bol vždy úzko spätý s prírodou, prácou a čistotou, čo sa taktiež aj pretavuje do riešeného interiéru. V každej miestnosti je navrhnutá inovácia variabilného záväzného systému. Hlavnú časť tvorí multifunkčný priestor, ktorý sa sústreďuje najmä na prácu, ale taktiež aj štúdium, zábavu a rôzne iné aktivity. Práve preto sú do tejto miestnosti umiestnené boxy, ktoré je možné variovať do rôznych nábytkových zostav podľa potrieb. Koncept pretavuje etos shakerov do súčasnosti a tak formuje priestor s vypovednou hodnotou. Na záver by som sa chcela poďakovať mojej konzultantke za vedenie tejto práce a za cenné rady.
Zdravím vás všetkých, volám sa Týmia Kipová. Študujem na Vysokej škole výtvarných umení v Bratislave interiérový dizajn. Rada by som vám predstavila svoj projekt 3D Printed Your House. Cieľom tohto projektu bolo ukázať, že vďaka novým technológiám si dokážeme vybudovať ekologický a energeticky nezávislý domov, ktorý nepredstavuje záťaž pre okolitú prírodu. Horizontálne plochy, ktoré sú určené k používaniu, môžu byť zhotovené z akéhokoľvek plošného materiálu, či už recyklovaných kompozitov alebo dreva, ktoré sa nachádza v danom regióne. Väčšina vertikálnych ploch v interiéri je zakomponovaná do procesu tlače celého domu. Interiér je výškovo členený. Využitím 3 základných výšok je rozdelený do zón dennej, pracovnej a nočnej, pričom pohľadovo do seba nezasahujú. Technické príslušenstvo potrebné pre chod sebestačného domu je zakomponované do samotného návrhu, pričom odpadá potreba technickej miestnosti. Všetky spomenuté vlastnosti vytvárajú zdravé a udržateľné prostredie pre bývanie o niečo viac spojené s prírodou.
Deň, moje meno je Mariana Vrábelová a môj projekt je vypracovaný v rámci vertikálneho ateliéru Daniel a Hronsky na Fakulte architektúry a dizajnu. Úlohou projektu bolo navrhnúť funkčný koncept pre areál bývalej raketovej základne, ktorá sa nachádza na Devinskej kobyle. Môj navrhovaný koncept pracuje s víziou naučného muzeálneho komplexu, ktorý spracováva obdobie po druhej svetovej vojne v rámci Slovenska. Konkrétnejšie sa venujem rokom 1945 až 1993, ktoré patrili hlavne socialistickému režimu, ale aj samotnému vzniku Slovenskej republiky, ktorá tento rok slávi 30. výročie vzniku. V rámci interiérového riešenia je navrhované v trojoblúkovom bunkri. Výstava sa tu venuje rokom 1977 až 1993, no a v rámci toho sú navrhnuté výstavné sály, ktoré sú venované sviečkovej manifestácii, dnešnej revolúcii, rozpadu Československa, ale aj samotným začiatkom Slovenskej republiky. Čo sa týka 2 výstavných sál, je v nich navrhnutý klenbový systém, ktorý podporuje svojim dizajnom aj samotnú atmosféru výstavy. Vo viacerých sieňach sa nachádzajú aj symbolické odkazy, ktoré rôzne zapájajú návštevníkov múzea, čím sa výstava stáva viacej atraktívnou aj pre mladšie generácie. Na záver by som rada poďakovala organizátorom za možnosť prihlásiť sa do súťaže. Ďakujem.
Mojím menom je Margareta Janovcová a študujem na Technickej univerzite vo Zvolení. Na semestrálnu tému Anatómia úspechu som sa zaoberala návrhom vzdelávacieho centra s názvom MUSE. Centrum by poskytovalo ľuďom možnosť dokonalovať sa v rôznych umeleckých a odborných odvetiach. Priestor centra je otvorený a prepojený, minimalizuje použitie oddelovacích priečok a umožňuje sledovať dianie z rôznych uhlov pohľadu. Interiér má 2 podlažia. Vstupná časť na prízemí slúži na predaj odborných materiálov a produktov vytvorených v rámci kurzov centra. Prízemie je tiež miestom, kde sa nachádza pracovný priestor s možnosťou občerstvenia a prípravy kávy, ktorú si každý môže vychutnať pri práci alebo pri čítaní dobrej knihy. Na poschodí sa nachádza pracovná miestnosť, kde sa uskutočňujú rôzne kurzy, workshopy a prednášky. Toto poschodie poskytuje priestor na oddych a samotu pre návštevníkov. Týmto návrhom som sa snažila vytvoriť vzdelávacie centrum, ktoré bude nielen priestorom pre získavanie nových vedomostí a zručností, ale aj miestom, kde ľudia budú môcť spolupracovať a inšpirovať sa navzájom.
Dobrý deň. Volám sa Marek Malček a som študentom stavebnej fakulty STU v Bratislave. Rád by som vám predstavil moju prácu, ktorej odbornú konzultáciu vykonávala architektka Šišková. Vila na Kramároch sa nachádza v pokojnej štvrti a vyniká svojou jedinečnou dispozíciou, sústredenou okolo priestranného atria. Hneď po vstupe na pozemok sa dvíha veľké sklené schodisko až na úroveň strechy. Nejde len o funkčný prechod medzi podlažiami, ale schodisko presahuje aj do umeleckej inštalácie formou hry svetla a tieňa. Exteriér vily predstavuje podmanivú príťažlivosť z pohľadového betónu a vytvára výrazný kontrast oproti sviežej krajine pod Kamzíkom. Priestranne navrhnutý interiér ponúka otvorenú dispozíciu, ktorá umožňuje prirodzenému svetlu preniknúť do každého kúta. Keď sa presunieme do nočnej časti, spálne vyžarujú pocitom pokoja a pohodlia. Dôležitosť rodičovskej spálni dodáva prepojenie s dennou časťou pomocou hlavného schodiska a vlastný balkón, ktorý sa stáva príjemným útočiskom, kde si môžeme vychutnať čerstvý vzduch a farebnú paletu záhrady.
Dobrý deň, moje meno je Katarína Skladená a práve som doštudovala Strednú školu umeleckého priemyslu v Bratislave na Tokajskej 24 v odbore dizajn interiéru. Tento projekt som robila v rámci mojej maturitnej práce, ktorej zadaním bol návrh verejného interiéru a tým môjim bol sushi bar. Hlavnou ideou návrhu bola fúzia tradičnej japonskej kultúry stolovania so súčasným prístupom k navrhovaniu verejného interiéru. Ako problém som vnímala často gíčové prevádzky tohto charakteru, preto hlavným úmyslom bolo pretvoriť zaužívanú predstavu o ázijských bistro prevádzkach na Slovensku. Celý interiér sa vďaka svojmu nadčasovému riešeniu výrazne líši od tradičných azijských reštaurácií. Zámerom bolo dosiahnuť pokojný interiér ozvláštnený použitím nepravidelných podhľadov a netradičného osvetlenia. Ústredným materiálom je svetlé brezové drevo a mramor, čo interiéru pridáva na jeho estetickosti a udržateľnosti. Okrem estetickej funkcie priestor samozrejme plní aj praktickú funkciu v podobe bezbariérovosti.
Mojím menom je Margareta Janúcová a momentálne som študentkou Technickej univerzity vo Zvolení. V rámci konceptuálneho riešenia kultúrno-spoločenského centra v SASE som sa zameriavala na vytvorenie priestoru, ktorý bude slúžiť obyvateľom tohto regiónu. Pri navrhovaní konkrétnych priestorov som čerpala inšpiráciu z architektúry samotného objektu a jeho okolia, vrátane sakrálnych stavieb, remesla a kultúry miestneho obyvateľstva. Následne som sa snažila tieto prvky zakomponovať do môjho návrhu. Cieľom môjho konceptu bolo zabezpečiť, aby navrhovaný priestor zapadol do okolitého prostredia a nebol pre miestnych obyvateľov cudzí. Snažila som sa vytvoriť harmonický vzťah medzi novým kultúrno-spoločenským centrom a jeho okolím, a to nielen z hľadiska architektúry, ale aj z hľadiska kultúrnych a sociálnych aspektov. Pri navrhovaní vnútorných priestorov som kládla dôraz na ich flexibilitu a prispôsobiteľnosť, aby mohli slúžiť rôznym kultúrnym a spoločenským podujatiam. Zároveň som sa zamerala na vytvorenie príjemného a esteticky príťažlivého prostredia, ktoré by podporovalo tvorivú atmosféru a interakciu medzi návštevníkmi.
Ahojte, pozdravujem všetkých. Moje meno je Patricia Pančíková, som študentkou katedry dizajnu nábytkov a interiéru vo Zvolene. Koncepčným riešením semestrálnej práce je návrh nového funkčného využitia kaštieľa na Dolnej Vyčinej so špecifickým géniom loci. V priestoroch kaštieľa sa bude nachádzať netradičné prechodné ubytovanie spojené s malým cechom, respektíve malým zoskupením niekoľkých umeleckých smerov, nakoľko priestor s dielňou je určený pre širšie spektrum umeleckých odborov. Tak ako hlina je schopná reagovať na rýchlosť myšlienky nástroja alebo dotyk ruky, chcem, aby priestor prebral schopnosť prispôsobivosti s ohľadom na symbiózu lokálnych a externých návštevníkov. Hoď špecifickosť a jedinečnosť genealoci priestoru udávajú jeho výpovednú hodnotu, tú schovanú a autentickú objavuje každý návštevník sám. Priestor je rozdelený do 3 hlavných zón a 4 prídavné, ktoré sa nachádzajú v nárožných baštách a spolu tvoria jeden celok. Celý priestor disponuje svojou otvorenosťou. Výrobou keramiky naväzujem práve na prepojenie s prírodným bohatstvom nedalekých myčinských travertínov. Vlastne tak, ako neustále prebieha tvorba travertínov, tak chcem, aby sa tvorila aj v tomto priestore. Veľkou netradičnou dominantou je práve vypalovacia pec, ktorá sa nachádza v poslednej nárožnej bašte. Stretová a spojovacia časť celého priestoru, tzv. Foyer alebo otvorená galéria, je reprezentatívny priestor, v ktorom budú prebiehať krátke výstavné expozície v závislosti od kurzu. Jedinečnosť spočíva v netradičnom zážitkovom ubytovaní. Ďakujem veľmi pekne za pozornosť.
Ďakujeme veľmi pekne študentom za ich vstupy. A už prichádza jedna z porotkyň, Lenka, na pódium, aby vyhlásila víťaza tejto kategórie študentský koncept.
Po slovensky pre zmenu. Dámy a páni, mali sme tu česť, že sme dostali množstvo súťažných príspevkov študentov, ktorí nás ohromili prepracovanými návrhmi, inovatívnymi riešeniami materiálov a foriem a výrečnosťou prezentácií svojich dizajnerských zámerov. Byť študentom je podľa mňa naozaj veľmi náročné obdobie, pretože je to čas, kedy sa formujete tým, kým chcete byť nielen ako dospelý človek, ale kým chcete byť ako dizajner, v čo chcete bojovať, čo chcete prezentovať a ako chcete, aby vás naozaj ten okolitý svet videl. Najvyššie rozhodnutie prihlásiť svoju prácu do súťaže, ako je táto, a nechať ju porovnať a posúdiť veľmi náročnej porote, ako sme boli my, je naozaj náročné, pretože je to čas, kedy ako dizajnéri ideme s kožou na trh. A naozaj ako dizajnéri vnášame kus seba samých do našich návrhov a keď ich prihlasujeme do projektov, tak je to ako keby sme dávali kusy samých seba niekomu inému na posúdenie. Takže naozaj by som chcela zdať hold našim študentom, ktorí sa prihlásili do tejto súťaže a ktorí naozaj aj ukázali pre tie ďalšie generácie, že sa to oplatí, že kuráž je mať dobré a že je tam tá cesta inovatívnych riešení, aké nám ukázali. Môžem po slovensky? OK. INSAID AWARDS 2023, študentskú kategóriu, vyhrávajú 3 návrhy dohromady. Takže ocenili sme 3, pretože mali naozaj veľmi dobrú kvalitu. Prvým z týchto 3 návrhov je projekt od Nikoly Stančekovej z Technickej univerzity vo Zvolene. Takže mám vyhlásiť všetkých. Ja by som ešte povedala, Nikola Stančeková, to bol ten projekt, ktorý sme videli ako prvý a čo sme naozaj na tom ocenili ako porota, je, že naozaj spájal tú flexibilitu priestoru, ktorá je potrebná pre program, aký Nikola mala, a taktiež, že vnášal hodnoty tej komunity do tohto prostredia. Dobre. Druhým výhercom je Margareta Janovcová z Technickej univerzity vo Zvolene. Margareta bola veľmi pilná, určite ste si všimli, že ona prihlásila dokonca 2 projekty. A chcela by som taktiež povedať, že čo nás zaujalo na tomto projekte, čo bolo to kultúrno-spoločenské centrum, ktoré Margareta navrhla, tak to bolo naozaj zaujímavé spojenie, akým priniesla prostredie, ktoré je prostredie okolia, remeselnú kultúrnu a spojila tú tradíciu remesla s novodobým návrhom. A tretím výhercom je Marek Malček zo stavebnej fakulty. A na Marekovom projekte sme naozaj ohodnotili inovatívne riešenie materiálu, ktorým sú teda aj sklenené tehly a spôsob, akým pracoval so svetlom a akým ho priniesol do interiéru. Takže všetkým 3 výhercom gratulujem.
Ja by som poprosila generálneho partnera tejto kategórie študentských koncept, aby prišiel na pódium. Prosím, odovzdaj ceny.
Ja by som chcel poďakovať za túto nečakanú príležitosť odovzdať ceny. My v ITB už od začiatku veríme projektu INSAID AWARDS, máme k nemu nekonečné sympatie a aj tejto rozšírenej verzii Intebold držíme strašne palce a sme radi, že teda môžeme, alebo že môžem v mene našej spoločnosti oceniť budúcnosť a všetkým vám gratulujem.
Gratulácie pre študentský koncept, ďakujeme veľmi pekne. A poprosím na pódium ďalší hudobný vstup z Cirkevného konzervatória v Bratislave. Veľký potlesk.
Nemocnica Bory bolo veľmi špecifické zadanie.
Ďakujeme veľmi pekne. kategórie. Ideme si pozrieť nominácie v kategórii Verejný interiér.
Nemocnica bolo veľmi špecifické zadanie. Celkový dizajn bol podmienený aj tým, že väčšinu tých spoločných priestorov tvoria zároveň aj nejakú signálnu funkciu, respektíve nejaký navádzací systém. Preto jednotlivé tie funkčné celky sú odlišené farebne, aby pacient, ktorý vôjde do tej nemocnice napríklad prvýkrát, jednoducho našiel to svoje oddelenie.
Je dôležité spomenúť, že všetky materiály spĺňajú vysoké hygienické štandardy, ktoré sú paradoxne na vyššej úrovni, alebo respektíve tie normy sú tvrdšie na Slovensku ako povedzme v západnej Európe. Takže pre nás bolo veľkou výzvou nájsť daný požadovaný materiál v estetickej kvalite, zároveň ten správny materiál, ktorý by nám sedel do celkového konceptu.
Nachádzame sa v zubnej klinike Dently v objekte Skyparku od architektky Zahy Jadit. Celá klinika sa nachádza na jednom podlaží. Objekt je elipsovitého tvaru, plný oblín a mäkkých tvarov, že z toho sme aj vychádzali. Základom celého zadania hlavne bolo vytvorenie dobrého, funkčného, prevádzkového, dispozičného celku, tak aby klinika zubná, je to zdravotnícke zariadenie, fungovalo ako stroj.
Súčasťou recepčných priestorov zubnej kliniky Dently je aj dosť výrazný prvok, ktorým je recepčný pult. Sme sa snažili dizajnovať do takých veľmi jemných, mäkkých, organických tvarov, nielen ako odkaz na Zahu Hadid, ale taktiež ako odkaz, alebo teda na vytvorenie, snahu vytvorenia takého príjemného, mäkkého prostredia, kde sa ten človek bude cítiť naozaj dobre. Celými spoločnými priestormi preteká aj taká tá ako keby pomyselná svetelná línia, ktorá je tvorená atypovým dizajnovým svietidlom.
Nachádzame sa v priestoroch neonatologickej kliniky intenzívnej medicíny v Bratislave. My sme vlastne sa snažili zbaviť ten priestor tých dôležitých nálepiek tým, že sme ich zakreslili vlastne do tej tapety. Súčasťou toho návrhu tejto vstupnej chodby a revitalizácie týchto priestorov bolo vytvorenie ilustrovaných uniforiem pre vlastne zdravotníkov neonatologického oddelenia. Čo sa týka realizácie, boli tu použité dva typy materiálov. Jeden materiál bol použitý na steny a na dvere, iný materiál bol použitý na svetelné obrazy. Tieto jednotlivé steny sú rôzne štrukturované, je tam spravené niekoľko výrezov z stien. Tie svetelné panely boli použitá textília, ktorá bola potlačená UV tlačou. Často sa to používa aj ako akustický materiál.
Poprosím Martina ako súčasťou našej komity a aj generálneho partnera tejto kategórie, aby prišli na pódium.
One, two. I just want to say some small words about the winning project. The winning project might not have been the most fancy and the coolest project, but it's one of the most important projects of the award. And it really shows that this project, with some help from some interior architects, have been taken to a complete new level. Let me announce the winning. So, the winning team in the category of public spaces goes to the architects, 26 architects for the project Bori Hospital. Congratulations. Congratulations. Can I get this?
Ďakujeme veľmi pekne. Thank you so much, Martin, as well. I believe it must have been quite hard to choose the winner for these categories. Ďalej ideme na nominácie v kategórii výstavy, scenografie a show.
Nachádzame sa v interiéri módneho domu. Zadanie bolo jednoznačné. Mali sme v podstate korešpondovať s filozofiou značky módneho domu. Používali sme vlastne materiály, ktoré v podstate korešpondujú s tou dámskou eleganciou. Pracovali sme vlastne s mramorom, ktorý má zlatú žilu. Ako akcenty sme vlastne doplňali rôzne zlaté prvky. Čo sa týka interiéru, tak veľmi dôležité bolo v podstate pri spracovaní celkového konceptu interiéru práve to jednakže materiálové naladenie, ale aj v podstate tá základná dispozícia. Nakoľko vlastne sú to ako keby dva obchodné priestory, ktoré sme spojili do jedného, tým, že vlastne interiér slúži aj na fotenie a natáčanie rôznych eventov, tak tomu sme vlastne prispôsobili celý ten interiér, aby bol vlastne taký multifunkčný a všetko, čo sa v ňom vlastne nachádzalo, aby malo svoj zmysel.
Nachádzame sa v predajni Somstore. Jedná sa vlastne o multibrandovú predajňu, kde sa prezentuje výhradne slovenská a česká modná tvorba. V podstate aj dizajnéri dnes a modná značka, keď pracuje s dizajnérom, tak namiesto N sa používa taký krátky symbol X. To je ako keby prvý symbol, s ktorým sme pracovali. Princíp toho X bolo to, že vlastne X, keď sme vlastne kladieme vedľa seba a vrstvíme ho, tak nám vznikne nejaká mriežka. A tá mriežka nám tvorila to ako keby základný podklad pre tvorbu tohto interiéru, ktorý sa zobrazuje v podhľade, ale aj v stenách. Stredná lavica aj s vitrinou ako šperk priestoru bol koncipovaný tak, že lavica má slúžiť aj nielen ako na vystavenie modelov, alebo si skúšanie niektorých modelov ako lodiček a tak ďalej, ale v prípade nejakého menšieho eventu to slúži ako stredná lavica pre divákov a modelky vlastne okolo môžu chodiť a sú ako keby na mole.
Nachádzame sa vo vstupnej hale vo foaje historickej budovy Emila Beluša na Fakulte architektúry a dizajnu Slovenskej technickej univerzity. Vlastne za mnou môžete vidieť dielo Eifflov, ktorého traja spoluautori sú Bohuš Kubinský, Paulína Ebringerová a Monika Moravčíková.
Snažíme sa širokej verejnosti predstaviť myšlienku rovnosti a rozmanitosti medzi ľuďmi prostredníctvom inštalácií vo verejných priestoroch. Zámerne sme pracovali s ľahkými materiálmi, ktoré interpretujú krehkosť a dôveru. Vo vnútornej časti molekuly sú integrované svetlá, ktoré predstavujú rozmanitosť človeka.
Má bojovať proti veľmi aktuálnym témam na Slovensku a možno aj na svete, a to je rasizmus, homofóbia, sexizmus, v podstate iné formy neznášanlivosti.
Ďakujem pekne nášmu vstupu a na pódium prichádza René vyhlásiť víťaza a poprosím aj generálneho partnera Kronošpan, aby prišiel na pódium odovzdať ceny. Ďakujeme.
I'm really honored to present this prize, and I will do it the other way around. So at first I will announce the winner, and then I'm telling you why. So let's put this here, and I open this. In the category Exhibitions, Scenography and Show, the winner is Somstore. You already know who is the architect. I not tell you. So Somstore at D415 in Bratislava, designed by Peter Gonda. Congratulations. And now I'm telling you why. I am showing who I am through my appearance, my clothing. This basic expression starts the narrative for design, an extraordinary shop in a common shopping mall. Once all the brands in shopping malls are all over look the same, the investor gives a new chapter while taking an architect to create a new business development for Slovak fashion designers. The result is a masterpiece in creativity. There is beauty in every material, even if it's used regularly to be hidden. To take this innovative and celebrate the beauty is one of the most creative scenery places and makes curiosity. Visitors of the shopping mall were affected by a visual overflow of all the brands and loudness of the brands. Some, I am not. Magically thrown into the shop and gets an expression of different brands in separate compartments. I am happy to tell that this is the honored design. Thank you very much.
Poprosím opäť veľký potlesk pre hudobníka z Cirkevného konzervatória v Bratislave. Ďakujeme veľmi pekne. Môžeme prejsť ďalej na nominácie v kategórii Horeka. Horeka? Niekto mi pomôžte.
Priamo oproti vstupu sa nachádza bar so zaujímavým zápultím, ktorý rozdeľuje prirodzene priestor na reštauračnú časť po jednej strane, na druhej strane bistro časť.
Nachádza sa tu veľkoformátová kamenná podlaha, drevená masívna podlaha a veľká scéna, ktorá lemuje celú reštauráciu zo štiepeného travertínu.
A čo bolo pre nás ešte dôležité, bolo vytvorenie viacerých atmosfér, ktoré ponúknú rôzne vnímania priestoru pre návštevníka počas denného alebo večerného času.
Priestor, ktorý sme dostali do rúk, ktorý sme mali možnosť pracovať, mal celkom slušnú výšku, preto sme ho mohli aj vertikálne deliť. Pristúpili sme tak k vloženiu mezanínu a vloženiu rôznych iných prvkov. Akustiku, keďže takýto vysoký priestor aj má dosť teda zložitú, sme riešili zaveseným podhľadom čisto z prírodných materiálov.
Nachádzame sa v priestore kantíny alebo reštaurácie, ktorá bola vytvorená pre biznis centrum. Potrebovali sme sklbiť požiadavky klienta, ktoré boli jednak funkčné, jednak dizajnové. Tu bola požiadavka na to, aby bol priestor multifunkčný, teda aby sa to dalo využiť jednak aj na prestravovanie sa, rýchle prestravovanie, ale taktiež na dlhodobejšie posedenie, na intimnejšie posedenie, na biznis obedy s partnermi a klientami, ale takisto, aby priestor bol využitý aj na eventové akcie, firemné akcie, oslavy, zóny, ktoré vyčleňujú pohyb človeka, tak sú vymedzené kresovou podlahou a zóny vyčlenené pre sedenie a stravovanie sú vyčlenené vinilovou podlahou a týmto jednoducho máme zadefinované, kde a akým smerom sa majú ľudia pohybovať a smerovať. Kantína je v rámci gastroprojektov špecifické zadanie, kde musíme myslieť aj na efektivitu a rýchlu obrátkovosť stravovania. Veľmi sme chceli tento veľký a trochu neosobný priestor rozčleniť, ale zároveň sme potrebovali ponechať priehľady pri hľadaní voľného stolu.
Našou inšpiráciou bol Monetov obraz Raňajky v tráve, jednak svojou farebnosťou, svojou náladou a svojimi motívmi, preto aj v tejto kantíne vidíte rôzne záchutia, rôzne typy sedenia, aby si každý mohol vybrať to, čo je pre ňoho príjemné. Jednou z dôležitých víziev pri interiéri, ktorý má pôsobiť ako posadenie v záhrade alebo v parku, je koncepcia živej zelene. Zvolili sme kombináciu exteriérových druhov a suchých tráv, ktoré odolajú aj v takýchto náročných verejných interiéroch.
Vzhľadom na vysokú svetlú výšku v priestore a presklenú fasádu sme riešili akustiku obložením rôznych čaunených materiálov v podobe mobiliáru, ktoré sú vyrobené z recyklovaných plstených materiálov, čiže PET fliaž.
Na pódium prichádza Davina vyhlásiť víťaza kategórie a poprosím aj partnera, aby odovzdal ceny.
It's been a long day, you're forgiven.
So what makes a successful hotel, restaurant, cafe? As a jury, we tried to really grasp, like, what is your venue's story? And what are its aspirations? So the exploration of the less tangible reasons beyond just a basic function of sleeping or eating. The most vital role of a story is to trigger an emotional response with the user, to appeal to the senses, to create a memorable experience, and the desire for the user to return. So, without further ado, INSAID AWARDS 2023 in category Hotel, Restaurant and Cafes goes to, I'm gonna try my hardest to pronounce this, Bistritz Restaurant.
The prize goes to a team who successfully translated a client's dream, a passion project, aesthetically complete through the clever use of local materials and a keen eye for detail. Ladies, it's an honor to meet you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Win-win!
Áno, môžeme teda prejsť na ďalšiu kategóriu. A nominácie v kategórii pracovisko.
Klient má veľmi blízky vzťah k umeniu, tak sme sa snažili pristúpiť aj k tomuto priestoru trošku tak umelecky. Snažili sme sa vytvoriť priestor, ktorý by bol v podstate ako keby prechodovou komorou medzi tou ulicou a tým tvrdým korporátom. Od investora, čo je banka, sme dostali v podstate kvázi voľnú ruku. Je tu použitý princíp scénografie, za nejakým plánom ide ďalší plán, ktorý vám niečo otvára.
Snažili sme sa vytvoriť harmonický priestor, jednak vo farbách, v nejakých štruktúrach. Tie štruktúry, ktoré používame, sú viac menej naturálne. Tá paleta farieb je veľmi taká prirodzene zladená, v podstate je to tón v tóne. Takisto sme pracovali vlastne s ďalšími prvkami, ako sú atypické osvetľovacie prvky. Tým zjednocujúcim prvkom je vlastne rovno pri vstupe ten motív kruhu, ktorý sa pretavuje do takého pomyselného valca, pretože ten kruh vykreslujeme jednak v podlahe a jednak aj v podhľade.
Zadaním bolo vytvoriť pracovisko pre naše štúdio interiérového dizajnu.
Prvýkrát sme boli v roli klienta aj dodávateľa, čo bolo vlastne trošku náročnejšie.
Máme prvú takú príjmacú zónu, kde sú zákazníci vítaní a je to aj hlavná konzultačná časť. Zároveň slúži ako vzorová kuchyňa, obývačka a jedáleň. A v ďalšej časti máme tvorivú časť, tam je náš tím, tam sa všetko deje. A potom tam je jedna posledná, to je rokovacia časť.
Ja vždy hovorím našim dizajnerom, že my predávame emóciu a preto sme chceli, aby keď klient príde k nám, aby sa tu tak cítil a cítil teda tú emóciu.
V holopriestore sa nám páčili pôvodné betónové stropy a tie sme chceli zachovať. Ten zalomený tvar dodáva priestoru výnimočnosť, zároveň to bola troška výzva zase, lebo žiadny uhol tu není pravý.
Keby som mal vypichnúť také výnimočné veci, tak sú to hlavne svietidlá, ktoré tu vlastne dodávajú tomu úplne iný charakter. 90% vlastne tvorí svetlo a dotvára tú celú emóciu toho priestoru.
Nachádzame sa v pradiarni. Pár rokov dozadu v podstate prešla táto budova transformáciou na kancelárske priestory. Naša úloha skôr bola ten priestor nepokaziť a nejakým spôsobom nepotlačiť kvality priestoru, ktoré už boli dané historicky a priestor tým, že v podstate už bol nejakým spôsobom definovaný na rozdelenie na to medzipodlažie a ten hlavný priestor. To nám už v podstate zadefinovalo, ako chceme s tým ďalej pracovať, takže to zadanie, ktoré mal klient, sme my v podstate nejakým spôsobom potrebovali iba upratať do toho, čo tu bolo dané. Flexibilne sa môže pohybovať v priestore, že sa môžu stoly pohybovať flexibilne v priestore, že môžu rôzne zgrupovať tie pracovné skupiny, ktoré oni v rámci tej firmy majú. Sú to ľudia, ktorí pracujú pri počítači, ale pracujú aj skupinovo, rôznymi meetingami, rôznymi brainstormingami a zároveň sa tu koná veľa kultúrnych akcií, veľa prednášok, veľa konferencií. A jadrom toho priestoru je taký čierny kubus, oddelený iba závesmi a ten slúži na tú druhú stránku, na tú spoločenskú konferenčnú meetingovú, kde vieme tie závesy rôzne otvárať, zatvárať, vieme tam konať nejaké také už súkromnejšie meetingy, nejaké prednášky, alebo to vieme celé otvoriť a vieme tu spraviť jednu veľkú party.
Na pódium. Teda budem kričať, lebo nejde mi mikrofón. Už ide. Teda Martin bude vyhlasovať víťaza a poprosím aj partnera kategórie, aby dostal ceny. Nový
Okay. Hello. The winner in the category, office category, it's a project which we in the jury was very impressed. It's a modern way of working. It's a very flexible, and it was a huge, quite a big project showing the flexibility in the modern working. And we are proud to announce the winner for the project category workplace goes to the project Lighting Beetle of the Watt Architects.
Ďakujeme veľmi pekne a prosím na pódium posledný vstup hudobníka. Prosím potlesk. Veľmi pekne pedagógom a študentom z Cirkevného konzervatória v Bratislave a môžeme sa teda posunúť na ďalšiu kategóriu dnešného večera a ňou je privátny interiér.
Nachádzame sa v Skalke na dvahom rodinnom dome, ktorý je zároveň aj náš rodinný dom.
Celý tento interiér je vlastne ukážka našej práce. To, čo používame najčastejšie, a to sú teda prírodné materiály, ako je drevo, kameň, veľa bieleho, aby bol priestor presvetlený, otvorený a vzdušný. A to sme vlastne chceli ukázať aj v našom dome, teda keď tu budú chodiť naši klienti, keďže tu máme aj ateliér, aby videli, čo je vlastne naša práca, ako vyzerá, čo ju tvorí.
Najkrajším priestorom pre nás v tomto dome je vlastne tento spoločný priestor, kde trávime najviac času s rodinou. A zaujímavou časťou tohto rodinného domu je aj detská izba, ktorá sa nachádza na spodnom podlaží a je tam jednoramenné schodisko, ktorým sa dostaneme do podkrovia, ktoré slúži prioritne deťom.
A niečo také iné je v nej, teda tá sieť, ktorá prepája akoby tie dve podlažia a slúži deťom teda na hranie, bláznenie, ale aj na relax.
Nachádzame sa v trojizbovom byte, v bytovom dome v Pezinku. Ide o vlastne bodový bytový dom zo 70. rokov. Bola to uzavretá štvorpriestorová dispozícia so samostatnou kuchyňou a s kopkou, ktorá bola prístupná len zo spoločnej chodby bytového domu. Prvým krokmi pri tej tvorení novej dispozície bolo to, že odstránili sme všetky nenosné priečky a taktiež sme pričlenili už spomenutú kopku k priestoru bytu.
Ťažiskovým momentom je asi odstupu, ako sa pozeráme, tak vidíme priehľad priamo do tej obytnej časti, ktorej závere je tento tvoj jedálenský, ktorý tak pôsobí, tak jednak delí tú obývačku a kuchyňu, ale zároveň je také centrum toho stretávania sa tej obytnej časti. Sme sa snažili odkryť tie pôvodné nosné prvky, takisto betónový nosný systém, či sme odkryli betónový strop, prievlak, stĺp a takisto ukázali, že vlastne je tam aj tehlová stena.
Klienti nás oslovili najskôr či by sme im pomohli so zariadením ich budúceho bytu v prípravnom projekte Skypark v Bratislave. Byt bol kupovaný v štandarde bez možnosti klientských zmien.
Zjednotením povrchov stien, stropov a podláh vytvárame akúsi betónovú škrupinu, do ktorej sme vložili 3 samostatné bloky. Jemnými stavebnými úpravami sme definovali dennú a nočnú zónu a zaoblením nároží a kútov sme zmäkčili pohyb po byte. Ten príjemný výhľad na okolité mesto si môžu klienti vychutnať buď zo vstavanej levitujúcej sedačky, alebo z betónovej vane, ktorá je integrovaná v rámci pódia v spálni.
Samozrejme, veľký podiel na výsledku majú samotní klienti a remeselne zruční dodávateľia.
Ďakujeme veľmi pekne a prichádza Lenka Petráková vyhlásiť víťaza a poprosím aj partnera Profirol, aby prišiel odovzdať cenu.
Veľmi rada, že môžem vyhlásiť túto kategóriu. Mali sme to šťastie, že sme preskúmali 3 veľmi zaujímavé architektonické návrhy, z ktorých každý sa nám vtlačil do našej pamäte. Tieto projekty boli šité na mieru, špecifickým potrebám ich klientov, stelesňovali aj jedinečný umelecký podpis dizajnerských štúdií, ktoré ich stvorili. Jeden návrh avšak prevýšil, ale ešte predtým, ako pôjdem k tomu návrhu, by som chcela povedať, že čo je fantastické vidieť tento rok, je, že pri týchto projektoch, ktoré sme mali šancu navštíviť, bol často investor. Bol pri ich prezentácii a taktiež veľa investorov alebo ľudí, ktorí stáli za týmito projektami ako klienti, sú aj dnes prítomní. A ja som chcela povedať, že to je naozaj obrovské šťastie pre nás ako návrhárov mať takúto silnú podporu od investorov. Takže môžete ďakovať návrhári aj tejto fantastickej podpore, ktorú máte. No a teraz tomu interiéru. Takže INSAID Awards 2023 v kategórii privátne interiéry vyhráva Skyflat. Takže gratulujeme What Architects. A ja by som ešte dodala, prečo sme vybrali tento interiér. Čiže tento dizajn predstavuje pozoruhodnú schému interiéru, ktorá pozostáva z 3 odlišných blokov, ktorým je vchodový blok, kuchynský blok, obývacia izba. A aj keď si tieto bloky zachovávajú jednotnú jazykovú a farebnú schému, líšia sa vo svojej materiálnosti. A to ste možno nevideli z toho videa, ale jeden je dyha, jeden je laminát a jeden je omietka, čo bolo naozaj veľmi krásne prevedenie materiálu. A táto rozdielna materialita slúži nielen ako vizuálny prvok, ale ako mechanizmus na transformáciu cirkulačných priestorov na sochárske objekty, ktoré usmerňujú tok návštevníkov. Ešte som neskončila. Ja som pripravila dlhý speech. Takže, remeselné spracovanie prevedené v byte Skyflat je mimoriadne kvalitné a jedinečné prvky, ako je vstávaná posteľ, pohovka, sú naozaj precízne navrhnuté tak, aby zdvihli používateľia do výšky okna, čím umocnia zážitok a zároveň začlenia úložné riešenia. Dokonca aj betónová baňa bola naozaj dôkladne prevedená s takou jednosťou, že tento projekt ponecháva len málo, čo by sme mohli mu vytýkať. A taktiež by som rada podotkla, že Skyflat navyše vzdáva hold architektonickým stratégiám štúdia Zahadid Architects firmy, ktorá zodpovedá za exteriér budovy. A naozaj táto vedomá voľba tvorí naozaj plynulý, krásny most medzi exteriérom a interiérom. Takže už vás nebudem zdržiavať, gratulujem.
So there were so many, so great entries in the... There were so many, so brilliant entries in the shortlist, and there were 2 outstanding ones. So we created 2 more awards for them. So 1 special jury prize for creativity, and I will tell you why when I open the lid. The special jury prize for creativity goes to revitalization of the entrance areas of the Neonatology Clinic of Intensive Medicine in Bratislava, designed by Zuzana Karlovic and Gabriela Chwostoval. Congratulations. We are not only human beings, we are social beings. What is the gift we have as humans to behave social? It is empathy. It is one of our key competences to be empathetic, to work with the individuality and the desires of our clients. But what happens if the client has no voice and no possibility to act? Then you ask the interior architect. And then the magic happens when empathy is needed the most and children's health. But the budget was short, and then comes another competence in the process, creativity. This is the reason why the jury decided to create a special prize for creativity for this outstanding project. And I hope that this will be signal to all the hospitals that there is an effort for interior architects to do more and to give more money to these kind of projects. Thank you very much for this project.
So this space triggered some debates between myself and my colleagues. Basically, we were asking ourselves a couple of questions. Is it a public space? Is it a workplace? Or is it perhaps an installation? Regardless, it was truly an inspiration to go beyond what is expected of us. And we felt it deserved to be prized. So the jury special honors prize goes to Tatra Banka Lobby.
Blížime sa teda k poslednej cene dnešného večera, cena verejnosti. A teraz neviem, či sú ďalšie videá? Len to odhalíme, lebo to nikto nevyberal. Tak nevyberali to títo ľudia, vyberali to iní ľudia na internete. Tak. A za projekt Nová Premium Spa Wellness Košice Mirka Maukš a Peter Maukš. Peter je o barliach. Niekto ho musí doniesť na stage. A cenu príde odovzdať Adrián Gabčo. Ešte Mirka beží, mala si niesť svojho muža na rukách. Ďakujem mi veľmi pekne, prišiel koniec dnešného večera. My chceme veľmi pekne poďakovať Fakulte architektúry a dizajnu, že sme tu mohli dnes byť, a teda aj zajtra. Budeme tu aj zajtra, prosím potlesk. Áno, prosím. Our jury, Martin, Lenka, René, Davina, prosím. Thank you so much. Martin.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very, very much. As the president of the jury, we would really like to thank you for coming here, to give your hands for this award, and we are really appreciate to be here. We are really fascinated of all projects. We would like to thank the organizer for a perfect award. And we are really enjoyed this, and I hope that you too enjoyed it. And of course, everybody can't win, but we have done our best, and all of you have made great projects, so you are really all winners of the INSAID Award 2023. Thank you very much.
Ďakujeme všetkým našim partnerom, no a ďakujeme samozrejme Milanovi a Martine za organizáciu a všetkým dobrovoľníkom, ktorí sa podieľajú na organizácii, a vám, že ste tu dnes s nami boli, a snáď prídete aj zajtra. Ďakujeme. A ešte bude party vlastne, nie? Že je party. Áno, a neodchádzate, lebo bude DJ a party a víno a tak si to choďte užiť.